Some years ago there was a celebration of however many 100 years since the discovery of Australia. But at the same time as this was being celebrated in the Commonwealth empires, the empires that rise and fall, the Aborigines sailed up the Thames, planted their flag and claimed Britain, the Houses of Parliament and Europe for the Dreamtime. Fair enough, I think, you know, because the Dreamtime will go on for longer. and quite rightly so. And my friend Robert's got an Aborigine song he's going to sing. With John, my friend John.
You go. When I heard of this idea of Black History Month, I thought, well, most people would think of Black history as Black African history, but I thought I'd do something completely different in my style, and this is about, as they accept, Black Australian history. There's not so much culture shock as cultural annihilation of the sort that really only the First Nations people of North America would understand. And I thought about writing something, and I thought, no, there's a very good song by famous folk singer called Eric Bogle that says it better than I could. So here it is. Poor Jack is on the street with his bottle of grog. Hard times. He'll try and bite you for a couple of bob. Hard times. It's dream time, people run wild and free. Pidgantula, Ranter and Gurrenji. But the dream time's finished and so is he. Hard times. And it's hard times living in the lucky country. Hard times. Black man says, "Fulfill my country." Hard times. Poor Jack is a stranger in his own land. Hard times. Living in a world he can't understand. Hard times. Wrecked and drowning in a sea of grog. His pride and self-respect's been robbed. Worse off than a white man's dog. Hard times. And it's hard times living in the lucky country. Hard times. Black man says, "Fulfill my country." Hard times. The spirits have fled from the rocks and trees. Hard times. The land is sick for white man's disease. Hard times. Their lust and greed does them betray. They rape the land to make it pay. The black man just got in their way. Hard times. And it's hard times living in the lucky country. Hard times. Black man says, "Fulfill my country." Hard times. The black man's dream time's dead and gone. Hard times. The white man's dream time marches on. Hard times. They tried to make you civilize. They just don't seem to realize. What they touch, they bastardize. Hard times. And it's hard times living in the lucky country. Hard times. Black man say, "Fulfill my country." Hard times.
This is what I wrote. It's a bit of the theme of music. It's called Brown Sugar. I'm in this bar, and the penny drops on the jukebox. Brown sugar. Gold cold slave ship bound for cotton fields, sold in a market down in New Orleans. Sold in a market down in New Orleans. And that was the sea they rode. Cargo possessions and nitty-gritty. Dead weight insurance write-offs. The weight they carried and the burden they bore was carried by no man since Roman times. And on the land, without blood name, without rights or destiny, flesh to grow cloth and sack as sweetness for European tables. And the land I lived on, the pit village, where the late afternoon was full of black faces, and all but one quickly washed off. Sambo, Gollywog, the black and white minstrels, love thy neighbour. No harm meant. Bit of fun. Just a joke. Scarred old slave and now he's doing alright. Hearing with the women just around midnight. I'm Dingo. And all the tropes between exotic hunger, foreign lust and the well-hung man. And I don't know. It's all past now, isn't it? Cheap racism belongs to grandparents. And Jagger, he was just pushing blues and taboos. And we abolished slavery, didn't we? Unless you count Morecambe Bay cockle pickers or refugees selling sex on trading estates in Carlisle, Rotterdam, Manchester. Not to mention the woman who cleaned for the cabinet minister. No questions asked. And I don't know. Mick Jagger now, and that sexy pout looks more like Mussolini's leer of self-satisfaction or Donald Trump's. And there's a taste brown sugar leaves that's not so sweet. And I don't know. You and I still have a way to go. Thank you. No more surprise dancing now. This is a poem I wrote with a lot of other people as a response to the film you just seen. And it's about what is this place? And each person gave a response and I put them all together. Come to I get to write folk like myself. From everywhere. This river, this wind, this enchantment, this culture, this summer, this idyll, this madness, this emotion, this religion, this friendship, this belonging, this head, this comedy, this anomaly, this child, this family, this nirvana, this house, this amazement, this stranger, this adrenaline, this poem, this dome, this curiosity, this kiss, this solution, this sex, this kiss, this dream, this touch, this joy, this room is everywhere. And this hope, this garden, this street, this life is everywhere. And this picture, this news, this story, this bus, this journey, this cruelty, this Eden, this son, this daughter, this mother, this gun, this father, this bomb, this car, this word, this plant, this boundary, this grave, this rain, this endless rain, this road, this mask, this book, this back, this lake, this walk, this hammer, this nail, this fucking Daily Mail, this shirt, this scent, this hate, this division, this trope, this meme, this hat, this food, this smell, this rock, this fire, this morning, this leap, this plane, this passion, this drug, this wall, this wire, this dance, this memory, this war, this dust, this night, this sky, this look, this friend, this time, this world is everywhere. And this moment, this desire, this feeling, this love is everywhere. Thank you.
There is a lot of people in this room. Kelvin was right. Black history. Last year, we all found it quite a difficult subject to relate to. And I still find it difficult to relate to, but I came up with some words. And here we go. Who knew just what wickedness people can do? That primal, central instinct for preservation. To rise to the top of the tree, make others work for thee for free. Through fear and domination to forge the greatest nation, built upon a warped foundation. Who decides one race is strong and one is weak? Who is the enlightened one and who the freak? Last time I checked, there was only one race to which we all belong. Those greedy actions justified by profits of many kinds, also bloody wrong. Where was the thought? Where was the love? Where was the understanding? Where was the humanity?
It took far too long to stop this insanity. But it never really goes away, rebranded, repackaged for another day. Anything you want, anyone you want. Who knew? When the first ones left that central cradle, spread far and wide across this world, moving out as far as they're able, to the cold lands, wet and bleak. There's fertile soil, but the sun is weak. The body's genes with less melanin become the norm to let the sunshine in. A mutant spawns the pale skin race, and difference and prejudice is born. Ideology and misunderstood biology are the weapons of choice for the mutants who think that they're the chosen. But you're rewriting your past, a history that's interwoven, seeing it from another angle. I guess some people would sell their own grandmothers to make it rich. Some bright spark came up with this magic triangle. What a Weasley son of a bitch. Kidnap those inferior. We'll find them in the interior. Use the opiate of the masses, or just brute force, clubs or broken glasses. African people, we take them, cross the ocean, and we make them. Break their backs on some plantation. We can't pay them, but promise their salvation. To live in chains your whole life, just because you're not white. Who are the weak? This is not forgot. Who is the freak? This was people's lot. And those who reaped rewards are still the wealthy dukes and lords. Ever wonder how they made their cash? You find it rests upon a stash of bones, no different from yours. Sweat, no different from yours. Blood, no different from yours. Tears, no different from yours. Who knew? Through a fault of pigmentation would lie centuries of subjugation. Thanks, so-called civilization, indifferent for so long to the protestations. Back, sheltered in the cradle, at the rise of humankind, when blackness was a virtue before the birth of time. Who knew?
Hello everyone. I'm not going to say much about the poem that I'm going to read, except that it may bring to mind a certain well-known image. How many smiles? Push the curled up child wearing a red t-shirt, black shorts, best shoes. Push him back down the beach. Push him into the sea. Push him across the waves. Push him back into the boat. Push the water out of his lungs. Push him back into his mother's arms. Push the boat into another world where someone nice gives him a fluffy toy and a hot cup of cocoa and says, "Welcome." Push back the dark, dark, wet hair to see him smile. Push them all out of your minds. Thank you. And that's from a new anthology published in Cumbria, Right to be Counted, and all proceeds go to human rights. Thank you.
Still wasn't entirely sure this necessarily belongs, but it was a tribute poem that I wrote to Charlie Parker. So it's called Alto Sax Man. Blow me, bird, blow me away on glissandos, gleaming with the sweet pain of your passion. Show me blue intricacies, the limber fingering white-hot intimacy of your bebopping breath. Born into the wall-to-wall sin and swing of the wild, wild Kansas City West, the sweet horn and reed hybrid, singer of domestic songs, seduced you. Musical innovation still possible if in different form, vinyl reasserting superiority over digital. What would you make of Beyonce and Lady Gaga, of the cult of celebrity? At scoffing 16, I didn't know that Hendrix and Joplin, Janis rather than Scott, later punk rockers followed the transgressive tradition trailblazed by cascading, jizz-fizzing jazz. Thank you.
My name's Kelly Davis, and I'm going to read a short poem first that I wrote in response to this item from the collection. It's a bit different from the poems I usually write because I found I couldn't respond to it intellectually, I could only react to it emotionally. These neck irons are replicas. They are not the actual neck irons that were locked in place around the throats of living, breathing, sobbing people. Yet they are still almost too shocking to look at. Surely they would have choked a man or woman long before their terrible voyage was over. These neck irons are so small, so immovable, with metal rings on either side that were connected to leg irons or hand shackles or another slave to stop them from running away. At least that is what the label says. But I can't get past the thought of the too tight metal collar rubbing against soft skin, pressing on the Adam's apple. Those who survived must have drunk water, eaten some ship's biscuit, but how could they even swallow? And how could human beings do these things to other human beings? And how can we still be doing them? And what will it take to make us stop? Read another poem now by Jane Moss-Luffrum. She couldn't be here, but I'm very honoured to read this poem on her behalf. She sent a short introduction, and it takes us back further into Black history. Abalava was the name given to the fort on Hadrian's Wall at Brough by Sands, where, according to inscriptions, around 500 Roman soldiers, originally from Africa, were stationed. They were likely to have fought in wars before arriving in Cumbria, and as auxiliaries would have been placed in the front line. These are the imagined thoughts of one of these soldiers, cold, ambivalent, battle-scarred and far from home. Abalava. We were always at the front in Dacia and Germania. The camp prefect from Palmyra ordered us ahead, our numerous of Aurelian Mori, garnered grain of the Leptian, Severus, milled in conflict beneath the wheels of war. Here in Abalava, guarding stations 1 and 2 from marauders in this blue ice cold, as Jupiter and Hercules demand, is easy. I lift my tear bottle to the mean light and shake its meagre contents till they froth and seem to speak. In the vicus, my new wife is warm, sitting at the fire. She will have rabbits to skin, chickens to pluck, and bittersweet leaves to chop. Our child roams in her and wants to run, waiting to be free. If he lives, he'll have a bird to sing, a dog to jump with and throw sticks for, and a hare to pet upon his mother's knee. A soldier doll I'll make from wood. We men of Ifriqiya hear our own tales sprawl, grow tall in the telling. One killed a ghoul who came from torchlight, spitting like a cat, and spent the night with her long body fast in his arms, her forked tongue writing runes with shadowed repetitions on his lacerated cheek. Another knew a man who fought a sheik, as strong as a twice-armed, two-legged man, though only his left side remained, and his one eye gleamed murder. Neither could win. They recited poetry to each other till both fell dead at dawn. I, for one, recall I fought alongside the ally Afrora and was smeared by the sweat of their horses' flanks. Wet with fear, they smelled tamarisk and acacia on me, of which my Gamal was fond, and shied away from the possibility, the risk of him rising in a billow of dust from the magic of his ash. We shuffle nearer. The Nubian takes off on the stealer's side to relieve himself. We close his cooling space. In summer I whittle his effigy. It pleases me. An Axumite returns with supplies, imports of olives, wine and figs, a sextari of fish sauce. Our frozen desires are undug, thaw into being. Though our fingers still are dead to us, we wait for them to catch up with our stomach's heat, blowing them with our combined and cloudy breath. Our every hair is crisp and curled. I see across these barren mists the purpled hills spread wide like home. I tend the crop in dreams. I ride my runner to the fields, my camel, my Gamal, my Jamal. I look back at the shining sea. The sun is close to my face. His waste once fed my farm and hearth. Now I have this flayed mat whereon to pray, taken from his tanned and beaten back. I stop my nosebleeds, boils and plague with incense drawn from his woolly pelt. I have one tear bottle left. He divined the fluids of the sands and sky. His dark-fringed, wart-ringed eye witnessed the shifted shapes of the smokeless flames that were the unimprisoned jinn and the 1,000-year-old child who lived with us and within us then. I only have these dregs left. I do not share. Here too the moon is bright at night, and a silver dew adorns the dike. The grass crushes underfoot in spineless splinters. This is a better life. I was not killed among the first in Germania and Dacia. I ducked that. Here my loved ones walk on pavement stones. Our piss in lead pipes is hurried away. Here there is always water, there are always fires, the mist, the smell of soil. Here I solely build and guard. The rivers of dirt in cracked hands are a map of toil, not bloodied with the lines of men, or sullied with the crept-up sap of strangled boys. In winter our deep uncleanliness adheres but does not offend. We are only foul with cold. In spring the marsh rises up, unsettled by the sea, and all around is rough rinsed by salt. We clear miasma from our throats. Our breath mingles. With chapped and tingling skin we clap our hands, applauding nothing, save that we are almost free and not forbidden. we no longer march in front. I start my carving, and unbidden my craving lingers in the Atlas lands, where in my mind's eye my wife, my son and I abide, and my new Gamal will divine the water in the desert that will sustain us but not own us. For I am mud and he is fire, my Jamal, my beauty. I have but one tear bottle left and many more to fill.
Hi, introduce this poem, as I think it more or less speaks for itself, really, and it's called Etch. He thought he was a wretch at the school in Hewitson, in the Sierra Leonean town to which he gave his name, we think more kindly of him. John Hewitson, in his green days, was a roaring boy, a drunkard whose boiled Navy shipmates couldn't stick him. Demoted, then kicked out, he fetched up on our coast in the service of the wife of a slave trader. By his account, a termagant who treated him like a slave. What lesson did John learn? The wrong one. So, Ben, his luck improved, even after a storm at sea turned him evangelical. He commanded slave ships, and when he swapped the sea for customs work in Liverpool, he invested in the slave trade. Liverpool, Africa, America, fat profits from triangles. Some of my pupils do it. They absorb the information but still come out with crap. Most get there in the end, and so it was with John. His Bible studies deepened. He became priest, preacher, hymn writer, friend to Cowper and Wilberforce, all the good guys. Warrior for the cause until in 1807 the British slave trade was abolished and John died a redeemed man. This morning in assembly we sang Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. unfound. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace that fear relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already gone. 'Twas grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now unfound. Was blind, but now I see.
Ruby's going to explain a thing, and then 3 of us have contributions.
Just finding my pocket. Basically, we all wrote. We were meant to be a group. There was meant to be like 6 of us, but only 2 of us could make it. But we had we wrote using a prompt that was some figurines from Tullie House. They were like 19th century, like horrible, horrible figurines. And they were like, there was meant to be like a white one, and then there was a black one, but it was very like colonialist sort of. Yeah, so we wrote some things based on that. So oh, and they have a little description with them, and it kept saying the word guilt to describe the kind of how it was made, but we realised that that was like a homophone for guilt, obviously. So my poem is called Guilt. Snarling white lion wears her grandfather's sundress, with her muddy hair and her muddy hands upturned like flowers in a sun that's iron red. Shadow black child, with a necklace of iron red coral like the edge of a flower, has his knee on a bulldog, on the head of a bulldog that's waiting to snarl.
My poem's called His and Hers. I took that hammer from her feet, his eyes met hers across the room. I swung and smashed the little monsters, his iron red lips smirking at her red cloak. They burst into shards and shatter on the floor. How many cornucopias were there again? The black and white edges melt like glass. His lion tamed, her scepter lowered. He wears her dress, she holds his wheat. His elephant crown, her flesh-coloured helmet.
China People, a Wikipedia poem. Luba, Mongo, Congo, Kanuri. Oromo, Manhara, Somali, Tigrayans. Maghrebis, Hutu, Tutsi, Chua. Shona, Zulu, Xhosa, Kalanga. Yoruba, Igbe, Hausa, Mande, Baka, Banda, Luba, Kotoko. Afar, Bilen, Sidama, Weleta. Berbers, Copts, Nubians, Tuareg, Kikuyu, Maasai, Samburu, Swahili, Bembe, Kalanga, Shona, Swazi, Dendi, Benin, Wolof, Zama. In your dreams, China People, I am not your figure of Africa. I am a figment, a fragment.
Explain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't explain myself.
Yeah. That woman.
Hey, I have a planisphere, which is a map of the stars. And if I'd had more time, it would have been a big thing to see. Tiny thing. We are the hidden ones, shining out of the darkness like stars. We led you there, although you did not know it, nor know us. You would not see us. We were in darkness, and we were black. We brought the stars into your reach, brought you closer to the heavens, while you would consign us to hell. We rose up. We soared higher than your dreams, invisible. It was so dark, and we found the light, the lost pioneers in a discovered world. We led you to the place where our forgotten faces shine. Unremarkable discoverers, our lustre remains. The story of the 3 women at NASA who were instrumental in launching John Glenn into orbit has been made into a film called Hidden Figures. Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan and Mary Jackson were the human computers and operators, better known as mathematicians. Johnson calculated the flight trajectories for the Mercury project and other missions. Jackson identified a flaw in the space capsule heat shields, because Jackson was an engineer, and Vaughan was a supervisor over them all. Vaughan trained her colleagues in new computer software and hardware, even though segregation was still in place and the women faced discrimination despite their genius. Johnson has since said she didn't feel aware of it. The film is not perfect. There are scenes added to aid a more sympathetic storytelling. It should not detract from the achievements made by the 3 women. In celebrating Black history, they aimed for the stars, and they reached them. So that was the first bit. And the second bit, I've made a little beer mat, and it's got the picture of the Peace Force, which you saw before in the talk. And the fact it's a beer mat, I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions as to why I've done that. And the poem's called Death of Carlisle Notable. I was a layer down of pathways until I trod a different beat, paving ways of permanence underfoot, underneath. Unremarkable perhaps, but essential to the street. A modern world where things ain't quite so neat. And I was first, but undiscovered, 2006 when I took my place, claiming a trail, knowing my face, besting the Met, 'cause history ain't set in stone. The paths get hidden. Let me tell you, I was named for a slave ship, but I am so much more than a name. I am a pioneer here in this city of trials and tests. No experiment was I was just a man, and not the bogeyman my name became, frightening youngsters undisciplined. 7 years, I was the law. 7 years, a decent man. 7 years like any other. We all drank. I the example set with the just in place regulation. Another pioneering action, I was made a negative. Black Kent, that's who I was. Black Kent is coming for you. A notable, remarkable but forgotten. Important now, dismissed then. 49, the law broke me. I was not able. 88, I serve you, not a slave, a working man, a decent man. If not the law no more, I am just like you. I feed my family, pay my bills, walk on paths I laid. Wear a name full of history. I work at Citadel Station. I see you on your travels, wave you on your way. Black Kent, John Kent. 91, I die. A death. I am a notable. I am a luminary. I paved the way. I am an inspiration here today.
I'm not doing this on my own. Oh, I've got another pen. No, I'll see. We've rehearsed this about 1.5 times. And so we'll have a go at it. Yeah, I wrote this for community play a long time ago, but working with my friends here. Yeah, and Carlo, who did the painting on the cover. Right. It's sort of music and poetry and songs mixed together. But can I ask you something? Since they kind of flow into one another, I'm trying to make a story about things. And the story is about whose culture is it, what is culture about, how it lasts longer than empires, you know. Yeah. Don't clap when something finishes it. Yeah. Even if, but please clap at the end. So, all right.
Racial stallions pushed over Portland Square, carved your name, they spelled your face across the twilight air. I saw your brown eyes smile at me, my heart moved wing to wing. The air went tidal like the sea, the earth began to sing, everything was changed. Walked along the petrol river, and I walked it edge to edge. I saw the rowan and the blackthorn and the sedge. They were fruiting for the fisher king, as blue as the sky. It says there is not one true thing, though my heart says otherwise. Everything must change. Everything must change. Everything must change. Everything will change. Stones in the cathedral House, they speak of you. They sigh, they whisper as you pass, and they speak of things you knew. Love gives itself to the end, the rule of the fights, till the silver spills out everywhere, then the evil bursts back. Everything must change. Everything must change. Everything will change.
Down at the crossroads where Robert Johnson made his lonely deal, there's now 100 million souls with 1 billion ways to feel. On the paths that lead away from us and the paths that brought us here, there's 100,000 voices all fighting for our ear. People yelling, people selling, people buying, people dying, people dealing, people stealing. Freak shows, breakdowns, peak shows, shakedowns, gamblers, grumblers, ramblers, stumblers. And there's lovers, children, husbands, wives, who work and wonder, who watch their lives and dreams like ragged flags unfurled at each dangerous crossroads in our world. But time's heartbeat moves on. We're here, then we're gone. But the drum and the heartbeat we dance to beats on. It beats out a rhythm, a pattern, a mystery. We sway to its song in the dance hall of history. So let's start in the 50s, in peace and in plenty. The Cold War, rock and roll, how it felt to be 20 back when, back when, back when, back when.
Was a Memphis miracle, hillbilly flash, truck driver dandy, son on poor white trash, hanging out in corners, combing his hair, legs shaking like the rhythm that was blowing in the air. Oh, shoot, got together, country music and blues, big money in his pocket, ripped up, blue suede shoes. They rattle teenage cages with his jailhouse rock. Louis rich, middle-aged, singing Vegas schlock. Was this really the king? Just anybody know? Or just a dead, fat guy in a sequin bag of gold? Whatever your answer, remember for a while, Elvis ruled the world with style. All shook up together, country music and blues, with money in rock the world with style. Elvis rocked the world with style. Elvis rocked my world with style.
Music's a journey that can take you away. Migration's a journey, but with a price to pay. A story's just a journey to the end, and friendship's just a journey that you take with a friend. So let's go back in time to the Mississippi Delta, where every black man who was born there might feel a pain, and every black woman who was born there felt the same. Sing a song far from home, the blues might be its name. But the years fly past the crossroads all the time. The future's like a freight train on the line. Now the blues is full of laughter, played loose and sweet, with an improvised melody that dances round the beat. It's a new church music in the street. But that's not all. It's the music of the juke joints and Carnegie Hall. But when the hall is empty and the crowd has gone, and at the hotel door stands a man with a horn. Now the horn's in its case. The colour of a face means suddenly there ain't no room in the place. Same old story in every bourgeois town. You live for the music, but the life can weigh you down. But there's hope in every note, that when push comes to shove, all those stark and stupid feelings can be beaten back by love. And that's the cool beauty of jazz, the red hot magic of jazz. It's real. It's how we feel. It's just jazz. Now, I don't want to get overly romantic, semantic, pedantic or frantic or any of those rhymes, but let's take a trip back across the Atlantic to Europe, to the old world, the bought and sold world, the greedy for gold world that made the grade through its trade. So what have you got? Because they'll trade a lot. They'll trade a coin for a candle, for a can, and a can for some blankets, for a man, and a man for a coin, for a gun. Just hear the gypsy fiddle play on. She's got holes in her shoes, the poor European blues. Just hear the gypsy fiddle play on. He's got nowhere to sleep, so he's sleeping in the street. Just hear the gypsy fiddle play on. See them down on the luck, see them pushed in cattle trucks, and hear the gypsy fiddle play on. See them huddle under cover, hear the bombers flying over, and hear the gypsy fiddle play on. Plays out of memory in the blood of a lover or a cousin or a mother in the mud. It plays a song man with a gun. He plays a song for the man with a drum. And he plays a song for the soldiers when they come. Bridges burn, the world still turns, the dance goes on. It's high wind in Jamaica. It's blowing today. Hurricane's coming. The palm trees sway. Cockerel's getting restless, you can hear him crow. High above the mountain, the storm clouds grow, then crack. Just listen to the thunder and lightning. Rain rattling on the roof all night, it's frightening. Daybreak on the island, the storm's blown out. But look at all the wreckage that's scattered about. Cane's flat as a hat that a mule stepped on. That means the work and the money's all gone. Hey sugar, look at this in the Gleaner. We could maybe go to England, get a job as a cleaner or a driver or a guard or a nurse. Cheer up, honey. Things could be plenty worse. Leaning 3 months later on the rail of a ship, families on the dockside wave them off on their trip into history. They're on a great migration, an invitation from a nation to a nation to help rebuild a country that the war tore down. Working in the factories, in the cities, in the towns. And the years fly by in the blink of an eye. Sometimes there's work for everyone. Sometimes the work runs dry. As we live our lives together under cloudy border skies. The past's a place where we can't go. But the past is all we know. Our dreams might not be all that clear, but our dreams, they brought us here.
I was born in a river by a little turn, just like that river. I've been with it ever since. Been a long time coming. Change is gonna come. Been too hard living, I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's out there in the sky. Been a long time, but I know change is coming. Well, I'd go to the movies, and I'd go downtown, Everyone keeps telling me don't hang around another long time. Change is gone. I go to my brother and I say, brother, but he winds up knocking me down to my knees. There were times when I thought that I could not go. Now I know I'm able to carry on. Been a long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Been a long time coming, and I know change is gonna come. Well, I know.
There you go.
All that's left to say is thank you to each and everybody who's contributed tonight. It's been fantastic, I've really enjoyed myself, and a big thank you to Nick.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Within us.
I'll tell you what, we could clap everybody who played and sang.
Yes.
We go, try that one. And Lindsey too, who's really organised this, you know. Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do this year in Black History Month, and I bumped into Nick, and Nick put me in touch with lots of great people who wanted to contribute to this year's event. And he also told me that he thought that I should share my own heritage. So as well as the objects that have come from Tullie House that we have in our collection, I brought along my grandma's suitcase. So my grandma came to England from Barbados when she was 19 with this suitcase. She came to England to train to be a nurse. So I thought I'm very proud of that fact, and I thought I would bring along the suitcase to share with you all. I don't know if you've managed to have a look. So yeah, thank you for my mum, she's been taking photos all night. Thank you for everybody who's filmed as well, thank you so much. And I think you may all end up on Channel 8 at some point in the week, so check it out. Okay, thank you very much.